This is about your bank account. A massive transaction just happened in your name and, my child, pause for a moment and breathe. I have been watching you run tirelessly, chasing peace in a world that keeps shifting beneath your feet. But now, something extraordinary has begun moving on your behalf. Heaven has turned its attention toward the realm of finance, but not in the way you might expect. You see, this isn't about paper, currency, or gold. This is about worth. And your worth, child, has been mishandled, ignored, or underestimated for far too long. There are records of your efforts, ledgers of your silent sowing, and heaven has not forgotten. Your bank account in the earthly system may have looked empty, but in the realm of the spirit, there has been a secret vault with your name on it, overflowing with the credit of your tears, the value of your kindness, and the stored-up blessings of promises yet fulfilled. A transaction has occurred, and you don't even realize it yet. Heaven initiated it, not a man, not a system, not a loan. But God. The divine accountant has moved resources on your behalf. You didn't ask for it. You may not have even known to expect it. But your obedience, your heart, your hidden integrity, even when no one saw, opened a spiritual wire transfer that just hit your life. The miracle is not in the number. It is in the timing. Just when you felt like nothing was left. Just when your heart whispered, God, are you still watching? The answer was already sent. The transfer is not only coming, it has already been stamped as delivered. Not by a stranger, not by coincidence, but by the hands of angels whose assignment was to break every delay and bring what was always yours, back to you with interest. Archangel Michael stood before the throne with your name on a scroll. A scroll that recorded not just requests, but records, times when you gave even when you were in lack, times when you forgave debts that should have been repaid, times when you chose peace over pride, love over revenge. Heaven doesn't operate in confusion. Heaven moves in alignment. And today, your life has aligned with a divine payout. It won't be stolen. It won't be blocked. What has been moved into your account, spiritually and soon physically, is sacred. And when it manifests, it will be undeniable that it came not from man's hand, but from the one who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He is not mocked. What you sowed, you shall reap. So hold on, child. Don't give in to the noise of worry. Don't let your mind spiral into fear about bills, debts, or limitations. God is not limited to what the economy says. God is not restrained by what men try to block. There's a release that just occurred, signed by heaven's authority, witnessed by angels, and it has your name written in light. You will see it. You will hold it. And it will not only cover what you need, it will restore what was taken, and overflow into those around you. Because the blessing coming is not for pride, it is for purpose. God trusts you with this release. Because He knows you'll carry it with humility, not ego. With compassion, not comparison. Stay ready, my child. Don't rush to post. Don't rush to tell everyone. This is personal. This is prophetic. This is between heaven and you, for now. The day is coming soon when your testimony will speak loudly. But today, it begins in silence, with a holy whisper that says, "It has been deposited." My beloved, listen. While the world obsesses over credit scores and bank balances, heaven has always calculated value differently. You have been walking through seasons where you felt financially invisible, where your faith was louder than your funds, and your hope was greater than your access. Yet even in the silence, every act of trust, every prayer you whispered through tears, every time you gave even when it hurt, those were deposits. Not into the system of men, but into the treasury of the kingdom. And now, that treasury has been opened. Not because of begging. Not because of desperation. But because the scales of heaven tipped in your favor. And Archangel Michael was instructed to deliver this message because God saw that your spirit was almost too tired to keep hoping. But hope, my child, is not dead. It is resurrecting. You see, the transaction that just occurred in your name wasn't just about money. It was about restoration. Heaven is not concerned with flashy wealth, it is focused on divine flow. Flow that moves like rivers into the dry places of your life. Flow that rebalances what was once lopsided. And when God begins to move like this, it's not only physical accounts that change. Emotional accounts shift. Spiritual credits are released. Doors open. Minds clear. And suddenly, what didn't make sense before, begins to align with purpose. You were not forgotten. You were being prepared. And now, the release is here. Quiet. Swift. But undeniable. A private angelic meeting took place, child. And in that meeting, your name was spoken, not with urgency, but with honor. God said, "Release it." And they did. Michael himself stood in attendance as signatures from heaven sealed the transfer. Not just of finances, but of favor. Of timing. Of recompense. Someone who once laughed at your struggle will soon witness your rise. But don't focus on them. Focus on the source. Because what you're about to receive is not for revenge, it's for redemption. This next season will not be you proving your worth. This next season will be God proving His word. Do not be surprised when sudden opportunities appear. Do not be alarmed when strange calls start reaching your phone. Some may seem random. Some may seem impossible. But you must ask yourself not, "How did they find me?" but, "Why now?" And the answer is simple, because the transaction occurred. And heaven never makes mistakes. You'll notice a change in your spirit before the change hits your pocket. Peace will rest where panic once lived. Confidence will rise where confusion once ruled. You will smile for no reason. Because deep inside, your spirit already knows, something shifted. And in case you doubt, in case your past makes you question whether you're worthy, let me say this as clearly as the stars were hung in the sky: yes, you are worthy. Not because you did everything right, but because you remained open. Because you stayed kind. Because you trusted even with trembling hands. And God never overlooks a trembling hand lifted in faith. You are not too late. You are right on time. And what's arriving is not just for your survival. It's for your establishment. Your grounding. Your future. Your children's future. So breathe. Breathe again. The pressure you felt was not punishment. It was the build-up before breakthrough. You are not invisible. You are seen. You are not forgotten. You are pursued. And this blessing is not just coming. It's already begun. Look around. Listen deeper. The signs are already here. And heaven is not done yet. There are things being written about you in places you've never stepped into. There are decisions being made in rooms where your name is being whispered, not in worry, but in wonder. Wonder about how someone like you, who came from humble soil, still walks with quiet confidence. Wonder about how someone who faced betrayal, heartbreak, delay, and denial, still believes, still dreams, still shows up. That is why heaven moved on your behalf. That is why this transaction carries weight no bank on earth can fully comprehend. It's spiritual currency. It's the return of what was once stolen from your story, multiplied, matured, magnified. Archangel Michael has been standing guard over this release, child. Not because it needed protection from heaven, but because it needed shielding from the eyes of those who tried to delay it. They thought you were still asleep. They thought your faith had dried up. But they were wrong. What they didn't know is that in the quiet hours, while others were chasing the world, you were seeking God. And heaven rewards seekers. Not just with blessings, but with revelation. And the transaction that occurred, it's not merely financial. It is revelation. A revealing of who you really are, and what you really carry. Some of you will find that the money attached to your name is not just paper. It's power. Power to build. Power to bless. Power to shift your entire bloodline forward. You are being entrusted with something generational. This isn't about quick relief. This is about legacy. And God doesn't release legacy into careless hands. That's why you had to go through the fire. That's why you had to be broken before being trusted. Because now, you know how it feels to have little. So when abundance arrives, you will steward it with reverence, not arrogance. You may not see the full picture yet, but it's already unfolding. Look at the small signs. The random person who asked for your advice. The forgotten talent inside you that suddenly woke up again. The dream that came last night and stayed with you all day. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. You're not losing your mind, you're finding your purpose. And the accounts that were once empty? God is filling them not just with currency, but with clarity. You're going to see clearly now what to build, where to go, who to trust, what to walk away from. And here's the sacred truth: God didn't just approve this transaction for you. He authored it. From the very beginning. Before the betrayal. Before the closed doors. Before the loans and the losses. He knew that this day would come. And now it has. But don't rush. Don't panic. Because favor doesn't function in frenzy. Favor flows where there is stillness. Stay still in your spirit. Stay rooted in humility, and watch how heaven begins to fund your next move, not just financially, but emotionally, relationally, spiritually. What's coming to you won't feel like a lottery. It will feel like justice. Not loud, not flashy, but deeply right. Because finally, the weight of your prayers will match the weight of your blessing. Finally, what you carried in silence will echo in rooms filled with honor. You will no longer be called the one who almost made it. You will be known as the one whom heaven remembered. And when people ask how it happened, you will not say luck. You will say grace. And grace will never run out on you. Absolutely by Whiteheart. Here's part 3 and part 4, both in long version, continuing from the same divine, emotional, poetic flow. Sentence gaps are minimal, paragraphs are large, and the tone is spiritually connective and deeply healing. Let's keep the audience immersed. Part 3, long version. Child, do you remember the days you cried without a sound? When you stood in the middle of your room, wondering how everything could feel so heavy and yet so empty at once? Heaven remembers. Archangel Michael remembers. Those tears weren't lost. They weren't wasted. They were recorded, stored, catalogued in light. And now, what you didn't know is that each of those tears became weight behind the transaction that just cleared. Not money. Not credit. Something deeper. A divine approval. A cosmic yes. A spiritual unlocking. And when the spirit opens, everything follows. You think the shift is coming from a bank, a message, a man, or a miracle, but child, listen closely. the shift is coming from within you. Because something inside you finally stood up. Something divine. Something royal. The version of you that heaven always saw, even when others only saw lack. And now, the spirit realm has caught up with your becoming. The wait is over. You're no longer chasing what's yours. What's yours is chasing you. With wings. With urgency. With unstoppable grace. There's someone who counted you out. Who underestimated your value. Who thought your silence meant defeat. But they didn't understand, God works best in silence. The greatest moves happen when nobody's looking. And now, a reward is being publicly delivered for something you did privately. You didn't beg for this. You didn't manipulate for this. You just stayed faithful in a world that taught you to be fearful. You kept believing when the math didn't make sense. And heaven took note. That's why Archangel Michael is standing at your door, not with warning, but with wonder. With fulfillment. With release. So breathe again, beloved. That pain in your chest isn't anxiety, it's expansion. Your soul stretching to receive what's already been loosed. It's not just a transaction in numbers. It's a transaction in identity. Heaven didn't just send resources, they sent reassurance. They didn't just send breakthrough, they sent clarity. And that clarity will change the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you think. Because you'll no longer feel like you have to earn what is already written in your name. There is a shift in the air right now, even if you don't yet have the words for it. The way light is falling through your window, the way time feels slightly slower today, the way your breath feels a little deeper, it's not accidental. It's atmospheric confirmation. Heaven is aligning you, not just for a financial shift, but a spiritual reintroduction. This isn't about changing your circumstance. It's about reintroducing you to your own power. The kind that was always there but hidden beneath grief. The kind that was always in you but tangled up in survival. And now, God says, enough. Enough delay. Enough rejection. Enough fear of being seen. The season of invisibility is over. Not because you're louder, but because your light is louder. You are not who you used to be. And yet, you're finally becoming who you've always been. You will soon hear something that will confirm this word. Maybe a call. Maybe a message. Maybe an unexpected person will speak a sentence that sounds like it was written in your spirit years ago. Don't dismiss it. It's not coincidence. It's confirmation. The timelines are collapsing into one moment of release. And Michael is stationed nearby, not to fight off enemies this time, but to escort your promise to your doorstep. The war is over. The delivery has begun. Do not run from the spotlight heaven is placing on you now. You were not born to be hidden forever. You were just hidden until the right moment. Until the right alignment. Until the right frequency was activated. And now? Now it's pulsing. Echoing in your chest. That strange electricity you've been feeling is not just hope. It's heaven's current moving through you. Preparing you. Awakening you. Trust it. Flow with it. Speak with it. Because when the miracle arrives, and it will arrive, you won't be shocked. You'll be ready. You'll recognize it like a friend from another lifetime. Because deep in your soul, you've already seen this day. In dreams. In visions. In whispers. And now, heaven has caught up with the truth you always carried. So breathe, child. And rise. What's arriving isn't just provision. It's proof that God never forgot your name. It's evidence that your spiritual DNA matches favor. And no system, no man, no delay can stop what was already signed in the ink of eternity. It is done. It is done. It is done. My beloved child, listen closely now. For even though this world counts worth by numbers and balances, heaven counts you by something greater. There was a moment just hours ago, unknown to you, when a file bearing your name was opened not by human hands, but by angelic command. I, Archangel Michael, stood before the courts of heaven, holding a case of justice, provision, and overdue restoration. This was not about currency. This was about dignity. This was about the years you were overlooked, the tables you were kept from, the blessings that passed you by while others sat in the seat that should have had your name engraved in gold. And so, the transaction that happened was not just a deposit into your account. It was a heavenly reversal of the schemes that blocked your increase, a sacred rebalancing of favor. Someone tried to sign a document in your absence. They used a name that matched yours. But heaven knew. The ink was counterfeit. The claim was unholy, the motive was selfish. But my sword came down. The angel of divine order stood watch. And while they celebrated a false victory, the notification you're receiving now, in this sacred moment, is the real miracle. Yes, you are about to witness something strange. An overflow entering your life through a place you thought was empty. It may appear as a forgotten email. A closed case suddenly reopened. A phone call from a number you almost didn't pick up. A person asking for your name in a voice you didn't recognize, but whose words shift everything. A breakthrough will appear disguised as ordinary. But child, it's heaven touching your finances. Heaven touching your inheritance. Heaven correcting the record. And your name, the full name spoken by God when He formed you, was just confirmed in a realm where no earthly eye can see. That's why you've been feeling the pull lately. the strange emotions, the dreams that come in waves, the thoughts that echo like whispers. Because your spirit knew something was coming before your mind caught up. And now it's here. The transaction is not just digital. It is spiritual. It was the releasing of divine funds held back by generational hands. And I tell you with fire in my voice, what you're about to receive will not be stolen again. Not by her. Not by him. Not by any hidden face from your past. The access has changed. The locks have been replaced. The combination has been altered and given only to you. So take a breath. Because your hands are about to hold what your prayers have cried for. And when you see the amount, when you feel the peace that follows, when you sense the shift in your atmosphere, know this: God never forgot what they did. He just waited for the right moment to settle the books. And today is that moment. My beloved child, sit quietly for a moment, for heaven is still not finished moving on your behalf. What began as a whisper in the spirit has now become a divine thunder rolling across timelines you've never even walked. This is no longer about paper, names, digits, or bank accounts. This has become about divine inheritance, something that was always yours in heaven's eyes but took years of unseen obedience to unlock on earth. God says, the massive transaction that was just made in your name is not just currency, it is a spiritual agreement sealed by my hand. They thought it was a glitch in the system, a misplaced digit, or a bank's clerical miracle, but it was me. It was me shifting wealth from hands that misused it into hands that remained pure. Into your hands. The ones that fed others when no one fed you. The hands that never stole. The hands that prayed over coins, trusting that somehow manna would fall again. Yes, these hands have been found worthy of overflow. And now, Michael speaks again, his sword drawn not for battle, but to guard what has arrived. He says, I have been standing beside this divine deposit for weeks. I have been fighting voices that tried to deny you access. I have been rebuking false agreements in the heavenly courts. And now I say to you, the vault is open. The door is wide. Walk in like it's already yours, because heaven has signed the document in the blood of mercy, not in ink that fades. Child, it will not be just one transfer. No, this is a chain reaction. Like dominoes falling after years of divine alignment. One blessing will open a door to another. One answered prayer will expose the next. And before this month closes, you will look around and say, I don't even recognize my life anymore. This is all too good to be true. But heaven will whisper back, no. It's all too good not to be true. Because you stayed true.